a minister, kept preaching to his congregation, sermon after sermon about baptism. Finally, the church leaders went to the preacher and they said to him, "Can you preach on another subject?" And so the church leaders selected a subject. And the subject was about peels. Certainly, they felt that there was no connection between peels and baptism. So the next Sunday, the pastor got up, began his sermon, and he said there are big peels and small peels, also bitter peels and sweet peels, cheap peels and expensive peels. And there's another peel called God's peel. And that brings me to my topic, baptism, he said. Now, by the time we get through with our series this week, you might be saying to me, "Can you find another peel?" And I'm going to tell you, it's the gospel. So we're going to begin with the gospel this day. We all have weaknesses. We all have failures. We all encounter obstacles in our lives that make it difficult for us to keep journeying ahead. We always sometimes feel like those difficulties, those weaknesses, those obstacles that get in our way surround all around us, and we don't have a way out. In today's world of technology, movie theaters, home theaters, televisions, and stereo systems are beginning to show up in our world that have surround systems. Now, normally, our ears are tuned to detecting where is the sound coming from. Is it coming from behind us, or in front of us, or to the left or the right of us, above us, or beneath us? And I noticed that when I'm in surround sound, my ears kind of do funny things because it's trying to just detect really where is the sound coming from, but we can't always recognize where that sound is coming from. In our problems, in our weaknesses, in our obstacles of life, sometimes it disorients us, just like the surround systems that we experience in theaters and at homes. And they cause us to doubt sometimes. Other times it causes us to get disoriented and we can't really determine where is God in our lives. Is God above us or below us, on the left side or on the right side? Where is God in our lives and in our situations? Paul, in this particular passage, is reminding us that sometimes it is difficult for us to face our weaknesses, face our obstacles, and even face our failures. Those are things we don't really like to talk about. Our obstacles, our weaknesses, our failures, our growing edges. And most of the time, we try to pack them away, keep them hidden from others because we don't want others to exploit our weaknesses or our failures. But here's Paul in this passage, laying it all out on the line, telling us about his weaknesses, his failures. In the background of this passage stands Paul as he recognizes that he is under attack, being criticized. All of us have experienced in life, one way or another, being criticized. How we handle our troubles, our obstacles, and our weaknesses make a difference in how you and I move forward or fall backwards. John Maxwell once said, we either fall forward or we fall backwards. Falling forward beyond our faults. We're able to look beyond the obstacles that are in our path. And we're able to look beyond our weaknesses that we have. And it's not because it's in us that we're able to do that. Paul is saying we are able to look beyond those things, those weaknesses in our lives, and to see God in our lives, and to see the opportunity of how God takes our weaknesses, our obstacles, and our failures, and turns them into something positive, something beautiful. And so Paul gives us this imagery that we are like clay pots. We know how clay pots can sometimes chip. They can sometimes crack. And they can sometimes break apart. But Paul says we may be crushed. We may not be crushed. We may be pressed like the lemons, and as I pressed that for the children, that lemon juice began to come out. And God can use that pressure on our lives, that pressure to make lemon juice. How can you and I, in our experiences, in our struggles, in our trials, in our difficulties, in our criticisms that people are aiming at us, how can we have a new attitude towards our weaknesses, our failures, and our obstacles? Paul begins to tell us. He begins to lay out before us. We are afflicted on every side. Sometimes it feels like our afflictions are attacking us from all angles. And yet Paul says to us, we are afflicted, but we are not crushed. We may become complex, confused, disoriented about life, even bitter sometimes about life. But Paul says, but we're not driven to despair. We may become persecuted, but we're not forsaken. We may feel like we're struck down, but we are not